Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net.
From Asthma Core Studios near Detroit, Michigan, it's Unregimented.
Gangsters, what's up, guys?
And now, here are your hosts.
We're recording, yeah, and I was going to say, like, do you want to just jump right into this? Because
yeah, let's just jump right in.
Yeah.
I mean, they're doing what I talked about it on Sporgy, Rich, and I'm sure I've talked about it with you before, Aaron, in some other respects. They're doing this happens at my job all the time, and it drives me nuts. The blame game starts before the problem is solved. Drives me insane. We are burning energy in something like this. We're burning energy in metaphorical daylight. Shut the fuck up. Let's fix the problem. Then afterwards, we can start pointing fingers everywhere. But the blame game right now, we're time is of the essence in something like this. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks about anything. Fix the problem, and then we can do all that shit later. And send me my check. God damn it. We're all getting money, apparently.
I don't.
Wait, did you want to do an intro, or is this it?
Hey, everybody.
Oh, hi. Hey.
Welcome to the weirdest week ever. Next week.
If you've not been on the planet Earth for the last 2 weeks, then apparently we're in which dystopian future right now?
Right?
You just crawled out of a cave like Jared Leto.
Yeah.
My buddy Scott whipped out his assless leather chaps and said, "So do I start dressing like we're in Mad Max, or do we wait?" And I'm like, and then he made it his profile picture, and people were like, "Fuck coronavirus, how do I get a piece of that?" Right. So I'm like, I
started fitting the end of my guitars for flamethrowers.
Right. I had to go to the grocery store. I strapped one of my kids to the front. Just had him like whack everyone with a broomstick.
Got your blood bag up front. He's a universal donor.
Sprayed silver spray paint into their mouth.
Okay. Here, let me say this, because I know there's a few people out there. All right, if you're at this point in this situation, I'm too cool and aloof to panic, dude. If you're that guy, fuck you.
Or if you're the fake news guy, you can also get fucked. This is no longer fake news. This has never been this. Do the math, people. Like, there's a meme that's going around that is driving me nuts. Because if you do the math on it, the math says the coronavirus is 100 times more deadly than H1N1. But no one does the fucking math. They just look at the totals.
Yeah, so they look at, the flu killed blah, blah, blah number of people. Are you looking at a ratio, or are you just looking at raw numbers? Because
of course, they're looking at raw numbers, because, of course, it's an Obama versus Trump meme. It talks about how many cases of H1N1, and then 12,000, almost 13,000. Oh, it says, it's so stupid I've memorized the numbers. It's total number of cases, 60.8 million. Total number of deaths, it's like 12.9 thousand. And then it gives the coronavirus numbers, and it's like whatever, and then it's like total deaths 53, and like it's like, now everybody's panicking. And if you do the math, it's 0.002% versus 2.8%. That is 100 times more deadly.
Be honest. It not just pissed you off; it made you break your streak of not posting on Facebook, because it was so stupid.
Facebook silence because it was in Earl's feed, and I had to be like, Earl, do the math.
Remember, he went to college to teach history. He's not a math teacher.
You do the math, it is 100 times more deadly from your own numbers.
Right. But, there's another side to this, too. The fact that we don't have enough tests for it, and we certainly haven't tested anywhere near as many people that need to be tested for us to fully understand how many people are infected. So whereas like the deaths are pretty concrete, you're going to know who does or does not die from this disease, whereas you don't, or virus, I should say, whereas we don't know how many people have it. So I agree with you, like the numbers as presented don't tell the story that Earl thinks that they tell, but that doesn't even tell us the full story. The more we understand about how far this virus has spread and how many people have it, that might not even be symptomatic, then the death toll is just going to start to come down.
And I tried to
not as a solid number, but as a percentage of cases.
And I tried to explain to someone like Earl too, like Earl, it's trust me, I was in that camp till about mid last week. It's the infection rate that is the alarming thing about this. It's not the mortality rate, it's the infection rate. It's how quickly this thing can spread. It's how it can be spread. Yes. And, like deaths are a concern. Yes, absolutely. With any virus, any sickness, deaths are going to be your primary concern. But we're not really talking about like direct result of death from this disease or virus. I keep wanting to call it a disease. That is the problem. The problem is overwhelming our healthcare system, having so many cases that not everybody can get treatment. Even if they are not life-threatening, they're still going to be in the doctor's office, in the hospitals, taking up beds, possibly being on respirators. We don't have enough if this disease spreads at the rate that we believe it already is and continues to do, we don't have the resources to handle that. In that situation, you will then have deaths, not just from coronavirus, but from many other people who can't get the treatment that they would normally get in that situation. Yeah, people without coronavirus are going to end up paying a penalty because of this. If we don't keep it handling.
Exactly. Anytime that you overload the healthcare system, you're going to have deaths and unneeded sickness and prolonged illness.
Well, a friend of a friend.
And that's the real toll that we're talking about.
A friend of a friend, he, over the last couple of days, I'm not exactly sure how many days ago, and once again, shit changes so quickly. By the time this is posted, they may have improved turnaround time on between when you get tested and when you get your results back. Yeah. I mean, it's literally changing by the day at times. But he said that he had like a dry cough, and he felt like he had a temperature, but he couldn't find a thermometer because he doesn't own one. I guess he's a single guy or some shit.
Yeah.
And he went to the store, and of course, there, no toilet paper, no thermometers. So he went into urgent care. They walked in. Turned out it was just something completely different. But I mean, like he walked in. They were like, "What are you here for?" Oh, and I'm sorry, something. It had spread to his eye somehow. His eye was like all gunky and watery or some shit. Oh. And he walked in. They were like symptoms, and once he got to the eye, they were like, "Get in here." Like moved him in. Looked at him. They said, "You got some sort of infection. Has nothing to do with this. Here's some antibiotics. Now get the fuck out of here before you really get sick."
Yeah.
Because this is literally these people, we can't even test most of them. And one of the scariest interviews I've heard so far was a reporter for NPR. This was last night. About 15, 16 days ago, he started coming down with symptoms. He spent the better part of 2 weeks trying to get a test. Eventually, somebody stepped in on his behalf. He got the test. He still doesn't have his test results. Now, he says he feels completely fine now. He says, according to everything that he's read, and the doctors he talked to, including his primary care physician, if he had it, he had a mild case of it. The problem is he doesn't know if he had it or not. He doesn't know if he's still at risk, if he can get it. Well, none of us really know if we're going to get it again once we get it. Right. But one of the things he brought up was he's a rare blood type. And he's like, I want to donate blood, but I can't because I haven't gotten the test results back. I need to make sure that any blood I donate isn't tainted and it has antibodies in it. If it doesn't, I can't donate. And I'm like, okay, I get that we want to save the test for athletes, celebrities, and politicians because they're going to be the ones to, rebuild the world, God knows, by hand.
Yeah.
When everything, is done.
Can we talk about the other part of this?
But can we get a test on him? It might be important if he's got that rare of a blood type. And literally now, instead of every other commercial on TV being wash your fucking hands, it's now wash your hands, Sam Bernstein Law Firm, we need blood. If it's like that, then get him a fucking test and get him his results. If we can do it with Idris Elba, who had no fucking signs of any type, he had no signs of having a coronavirus, yet he gets on social media and says, I got tested for it and I have it. I still have no signs. Then why the fuck were you tested for it?
Well, that's the other part of this conversation, too. How about all of the assholes that are getting tested that are showing no symptoms? Like, those tests could be used for people who need them? If they're in short supply right now, what's the example I heard? Like Kris Jenner showing no symptoms, taking a test. What? Right now, the CDC is telling you, hey, please only take the test if you have symptoms. Like, is this a new form of virtue signaling? I took the test and I'm clear. Cool. If you didn't have any symptoms, you wasted a test.
I don't know about Kris Jenner. I imagine she travels a lot. Certainly Idris Elba does. I know that he came in contact with somebody who tested positive. I mean, in cases like that where you have somebody who's going all over the world and has come in contact with, I mean, I think you do want to test those people because you want to see if they're going to be a vector for this disease or not. But in general, I do agree with you that it's kind of weird that there's a bunch of famous people that have easy access to this test, even though they are asymptomatic.
Well, that's the other thing. Apparently, I don't know. Once again, at this point, the people I'm staying with, they keep the news on 24/7, pretty much, and I just kind of ignore it. But every once in a while, I'll hear something and I'll be like, "What'd they say?" And apparently, one of the things is, you can catch it and be asymptomatic and still spread it.
Yeah.
And that's apparently much more common in young people, like children and teenagers.
All those assholes on spring break?
No. We're getting to them. Hold on. Because I got a personal story of stupidity that's like, okay, all right, they better hope society doesn't break down, because I got a list and they're going first. Okay? Seriously, I'm dead serious. Fuck that. You people want to, I don't care, whatever, we'll get to it. But anyways, yeah. So young people get it, and they just feel a little puckish for a day or two, and then they're fine. That's as close to symptoms as they have. Like, I just feel run down. I feel tired, Mom. I don't have any energy. Which is, okay, it's weird for 10, 12-year-old kid to say that. But if they're not running a fever, they're not hacking a dry cough, their chest isn't rattling, then I would say that's damn close to having as little symptoms as possible. So, I mean, it's frustrating. I don't know who to trust. I don't know who to believe, because I'm too cynical for this shit. I'm serious. Yeah, I'm just waiting for the government to go, we have no fucking idea. Everybody's sick. President's on his deathbed. The two fucking idiots we got running for the Democrats, because they're fucking 150 each, they're on their fucking deathbeds. We'll see you in 6 months with a whole new fucking cast on Saturday Night Live. I mean, it's like
United States reboot.
Yeah, because I'm just waiting for this shit. Like, seriously? I don't know. Sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
Well, no, I mean, if you're not like, I looked sideways at people who were immediately panicking about this because
same here.
What's that?
I think we all did.
We all did.
Yeah, because with all the amount of misinformation that we have in news in general, and on top of that, when it comes to health and science reporting, in a lot of ways, it's been even worse than politics, as far as the accuracy of the reporting on some of these subjects. So, yeah, I mean, I think you'd be a fool not to be cynical about it.
Another thing, if this thing can go get fucked on, is I haven't watched the news in my house for years. Yeah, it's been on every morning all week. It's another thing this has done.
I can't do it. I mean, I understand that
it's the local news. Trust me, it's not cable news. I haven't gone that far yet. But every morning I got the local news on. I'm wanting to see the press conference every morning.
I mean, I understand if it helps you and it helps you to deal with it in some weird way. And it's only weird because it doesn't help me. It does quite the opposite. It enrages me and pisses me off. More power to you. Like, at this point, short of fucking a child or killing somebody or going on a robbing spree, do what you got to do to get through this shit. You want to sit home and smoke weed? That's fine. You want to sit home and float your fucking liver and drink till your asshole falls out? That's fine with me too. Just don't be an idiot and go out there and do shit like gather at a fucking beach in Florida by the fucking thousands and talk about, dude, if I get it, I get it. I've been planning this trip for spring break for like forever, man, like for the last 2 months. And blah, 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 blah. And then they cut to another asshole. Well, they closed all the bars and the beaches down. They owe us a refund.
Yeah, fuck you.
Who, the state of Florida? The governor?
Yeah, right.
First of all, they closed Vegas.
Yeah.
They closed down every single sporting league in the fucking world.
And you had me at they closed Vegas, but I'm 40.
You know what I'm saying? Like non-essential shit. There are cities in this country that are on what is it? They don't call it quarantine because they don't want to panic people. What is it? Not social distancing either. But
shelter in place.
Shelter in place.
Which, by the way, you know what I found out? That's for an active shooter. Why are they using language for an active shooter?
Because it's like friendly fire. And Seek and Destroy was too violent of language because it brought certain images to your head. So they started calling it blue on blue contact and sweep and clear. Doesn't that sound nicer? Doesn't it sound... We've prettied up and pussified and feminized these words of war for you. Does it make it easier to go out there and do what we tell you to? That's really what it is. I mean, seriously. But I mean... The Bay Area, shut the fuck down. Later for you. I mean,
they need to be with the homeless population. No, that's one thing that Dr. Drew brought up this week that scared the shit out of me because I didn't really think about it. This thing gets into homeless, it's over. Well, it probably already is.
Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, none of these people are going to be able to seek proper treatment. They're going to spread it amongst each other and then to everyone else.
Well, the really scary part of that is if you've, and I've heard this from multiple news sources. So I'm going to go ahead and put in cynicism on full display. Say, I kind of believe this because I kind of believe this is what we're trying to. I really believe it's what we're trying to avoid here in this country. Italy's so overwhelmed with their hospitals and the sick people that those doctors who are not combat doctors are making wartime, like battlefield decisions about people living and dying. Yeah. Oh, you're 76 with it? Well, I have a 42-year-old mother of 3. You die, Mr. 76.
Yes.
Give them morphine, snow them on Ativan, make them comfortable later for you.
It's called triage. And that's what's going to happen here if we get overwhelmed with the number of cases.
I think I just saw something that said Italy stopped counting bodies.
What? You're going to have to tally this up eventually, right? What does it mean they stopped counting bodies?
What are they going to do after 6 months?
They just have
come
one
out of
mass
quarantine
grave.
and go to your homeroom, and whoever's not there, we're just going to assume is dead. Like Gambino here. Soprano.
Okay, well,
no Soprano.
Okay, well, it's from the New York Post, so take it for what it is. It says coronavirus in Italy, healthcare workers stop counting bodies.
Yeah, I'm sure that they talked to a healthcare worker and they said, I don't know how many deaths we've had. I stopped counting.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds like a reasonable quote that a healthcare worker would say. I can't imagine, like, the hospital, this country of Italy just going, we don't really know. Look, a lot of people are going to die. Like,
they just cut to their prime minister. It's him shrugging. Oh.
This is too much paperwork. We're just going to go on the honor system, okay?
Yeah. See, and when it comes to that, and us not wanting that here in the States, is I don't think people who haven't had firsthand experience with our healthcare system, people who just constantly hear about it and they've never really dealt with it, they don't understand.
Or they don't have to deal with the real system. They either are lucky enough to not have to deal with it at all, or they're rich enough that it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
But the real healthcare system that most of this country has to deal with.
Yeah, we're not just walking towards the edge, we're peering over it right now. That's how come I got pissed when I heard a coworker called in someone to cover his shift yesterday so he could drive to Pennsylvania and pick up a dog he bought. And I'm like, You work with the public. You handle food. We constantly have people coming and going at our job. And you're going to just pack up and take a jaunt to the East Coast to pick up a fucking dog you bought and come back, and everybody you're going to meet in between those two spots?
Yeah. And then if he gets infected, then your whole work is shut down. Because what else are they going to do?
Yeah.
And here's the point where I'm at. I don't want to get any older people or people who have high risk shit sick, even if I am infected. Yeah. I'm basically, I'm like, sit down, Grandma. Let's play a game of Russian roulette where 5 of the rounds have 5 of the chambers have rounds in them.
Well, that's the thing I thought about all those assholes in Florida. Like, you're overreacting, bro. Like, some of the man on the streets have been ridiculous from down there, but it's just like, don't you have parents, you fucking idiots? Hey, here's something your generation doesn't hear that much. It's not all about you. You have parents. You have grandparents, you fucking idiots.
Yeah. And we're 3 pretty jaded, untrusting dudes in general, right? I mean, like, most of what we complain about on this show is people overreacting to things. But in this case, people are, in a lot of cases, mostly underreacting, I think.
That's one of my favorite byproducts of this, is all of a sudden this youth that we were venerating 2 weeks ago, we're now telling are morons.
Because you're starting to see the percentage of them that really... Seriously, I've yet to see an interview of anybody that went down to Florida for spring break, whether it be South Beach, Central Florida, Daytona. I've yet to see anyone say, now that I'm out here, I'm kind of thinking, God, I could go home and like spread this to my parents, my grandparents, and they're not going to be able to fight it off as well as we would because we're young. No, it's, God damn it, they closed the bars. Now what are we supposed to do? We can't even hang out at the beach in groups bigger than 10. How are we supposed to have a party? Seriously? Die, motherfuckers. Die. Seriously, I don't care at this point. You can die right now. Drop over dead while the camera's on you. Fuck their B-roll. I don't care. Because that's the type of people that bring about the end of the fucking world. No, of course not. No. And you know what? If I was their parents and they're walking around, hey, it's not the coronavirus, it's the boomer remover. Well, guess what? This boomer's spending your inheritance. Yeah. So when grandma and grandpa and me and mom are dead, have fun taking a dick up your fucking faggot ass to make a fucking living, bitch ass motherfucker. Have fun sucking cock, sweetie. You're a princess. Never forget it. Especially when he forces you down on it. There you go. You happy now? That's right. Sling that ass like a good little bitch. Fuck these fuckers. Fuck them.
Rich is available for children's parties.
Yes. And your children need to hear it. And I'm tired of being told, no. The fucking truth needs to be fucking told. We got in this situation with kids thinking like that and teenagers thinking like that because everyone was scared to tell them the fucking truth. You ain't shit. You're not special. And I don't give a fuck who says you are. They're lying to you. You can't be anything. You're a fucking idiot.
And a virus don't care.
You wanted equality? Equality's knocking on everybody's fucking door.
Exactly.
It's called death. It don't give a fuck.
A virus don't give a care about your social economic status, what race you are.
But wait a minute. I had a blue check mark on Twitter and I supported Bernie. Don't give a fuck. Get in the fucking bring out your dead. Bring them out.
Get in the fucking van.
Like, seriously, I'm tired. Like, people, this shit is unprecedented. 9/11, we didn't have this. Yeah, we shut down for a day or two. This is the entire fucking world economy grinding to a halt. Earl actually said it best. We're stopping a fucking train that is never meant to stop.
Yeah.
If you can't take shit seriously now, I got a 5.56 round for you. You'll take it seriously then, and I ain't wasting one putting it in your fucking ass. I just blow your fucking useless brains out. I'm tired of this shit. These people, like, seriously, I see people out in public. Like, I went to one 7-Eleven, and the guy was like, no more than 2 people in here at a time.
Like, hell yeah.
I was like, good. Mm-hmm. Had a friend who works at another place that's supposed to be a dine-in restaurant, but they're only doing takeout and carry-out. And group of motherfuckers from, I won't say the hospital's name, that might be libelous, from a local hospital walk in. Hey, we'd like to place an order. And they're looking at them and all their IDs, and they're like, you can go step outside and call. Are you out of your fucking mind? And those are healthcare workers. Like, are you serious? It takes 5 of you to come in here and fucking order? No one can take a fucking order?
Well, as we learned from Scrubs, you don't have to have a medical degree to work in the hospital. You don't need a PhD to be an orderly, to change a sheet.
Unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Curated by Kohl's latest collection is now available in select stores and at Kohls.com. For a limited time, shop unexpected new favorites like reusable drinkware from Corksicle and fun arts and crafts from UV. Warmy's heatable plush toys are perfect for little ones. Homesick handcrafted candles are a great gift to make anyone feel at home. And who doesn't love sweet treats from Candy Club? Shop Curated by Kohl's for these digital need-to-know brands and more. Tap the banner now or visit Kohls.com. Curated by Kohl's latest collection is now available in select stores and at Kohls.com. For a limited time, shop unexpected new favorites like reusable drinkware from Corksicle and fun arts and crafts from UV. Warmy's heatable plush toys are perfect for little ones. Homesick handcrafted candles are a great gift to make anyone feel at home. And who doesn't love sweet treats from Candy Club? Shop Curated by Kohl's for these digital need-to-know brands and more. Tap the banner now or visit Kohls.com.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Unregimented.
I mean, just the amount of stupidity. We need Joey Diaz, like, as our leader to stand up and go, it's time to have that immigrant mentality, which means we got to fucking keep our head above water no matter what.
Hey, trust me, man. I went grocery shopping yesterday because I actually, needed things because I'm not hoarding. And some dude is like just all up on me while I'm and and he's younger. He was younger. I could tell. I'm like, motherfucker, does this look like 6 feet to you? Oh, are you in a hurry? We're all in a fucking hurry.
Standing closer to somebody doesn't make them go faster.
Yeah, exactly. And he was just all up. Guys, like right down behind me. Like, yeah. It's just shit like that. And then today too, seeing people. This also annoyed. Just people out and about. Because I had to get some shit for my mom because she's 71. People wearing masks. I'm just sitting there like, all right. So either this is you think you're smarter than the rest of us, and are ignoring everything we're being told about wearing masks, or you have this shit and you're out in public.
Right.
So either way, you're a fucking idiot.
You shouldn't be wearing a mask unless you're infected or working a job where you're going to be coming in contact with people that are possibly infected. So, yeah, if you're out wearing a mask in public, I'm going to assume you're an asshole because you're either infected and out infecting other people currently, or you are wasting a valuable resource that somebody else could use at this moment.
One of those assholes who thinks you got it all figured out and you know more than everybody else, regardless of what the media and everyone else is telling you about masks. You got it fucking figured out. You're the smart one. No, fuck you. You're an idiot.
Yeah, I cannot remember what novel it was, but I read a novel when I was younger where an older family member took in a kid because his parents had died, and that's basically the gist of the story. Like, he was like his I guess he was either like his grandpa or his great uncle or something. So like the age divide and stuff. And there was at one point where he gave a speech to a group of young men who were a little bit older than the kid he took in, and years later he said, "What was he asked him at that time, what'd you tell him?" He goes, "One day I'll tell you. You're too young to hear it now." We got older, and old man, he said, "Hey, why don't you tell me what you say?" And to break it down, world goes on without you. And this is the end of it. World goes on without you when you ain't here. This is not all scenery for your personal movie. Mm. When you die, they don't strike the set and go home.
Right.
The world keeps spinning. You will be forgotten. And once the last person who remembers you dies off, you no longer exist in the books of history. And you need to understand that. And that's what these people need a fucking heaping dose of. Seriously.
The whole generation that would probably fall apart if you told them that.
I don't give a fuck who it is. Well, if it's people our age, older people. First of all, if you're over 60 and you're out bebopping around right now, I'm just going to be like,
that's Darwin.
Hey, pills will be quicker.
Yeah, that's Darwin, man.
Shotgun to the head's a lot more definitive way to get it done.
It's the herd thinning itself.
But seriously, the shit I see, I mean, it's not that hard. Look, I understand. It's an inconvenience. No one wants to be stuck at home with their wives and children. I get that. All right? I understand that. You just learned your wife's favorite color is yellow, and you're like, who the fuck likes yellow? I get it. I don't care.
Hey, I got to say, by the way, sorry to interrupt you, props to, I've seen a lot of videos online of parents coming up with inventive ways to hide from their children.
I haven't seen
like, there's this one dude, it's straight up out of Looney Tunes, but it worked. He painted, he took the two cushions out of the corner of his couch, and he painted like a big poster board to look like the corner of his couch. And he's like a skinny dude. And I'm sure he set it up or whatever. Maybe he did. But yeah, when his kid comes running into the room, he hides behind the poster board and it blends right in. And the kid comes into the room, looks around like, oh, I guess he's not here, and runs away. like I said, it was reminiscent of painting the tunnel on the brick wall.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry. I interrupted you, Rich.
It's all right. All we are right now, we're like the, what is it? We're like the, what would they call it? Like the witch doctors, sin eaters or whatever. We're just the people out here you're listening to that are just saying the shit you're thinking. And maybe you're too scared to say, well, fuck it, I'll say it. I'm fucking terrified. And it's not necessarily of dying. I mean, I'm not exactly thrilled with the idea of dying, but I've come to accept that I'm going to go a lot sooner than most of the people I know. That's just all there is to it.
I'm scared of other people. That's what I'm scared of.
I'm scared of how much of this is bullshit we're being told, how little control of this there is. I'd almost welcome a conspiracy theory that made sense at this point, because I would find a little bit of comfort in the fact that somebody's still pulling the strings, because truly, I really believe we are a rudderless ship and we're just fucking... Well, let's hope that we don't capsize. It's going to suck.
We did have a hardy system for dealing with things like this before Trump fired most of the people.
But see, and even that shit, okay, I get that. But this is like when you've been diagnosed with stage 4 cancer before it's metastasized. The time of what you shoulda, coulda, woulda done is done with. You got to before it metastasizes. You got to focus on whatever you got to do to survive.
Yeah, but there was a period.
Scalps.
Early on when the blame game started, I think it was reasonable because there was legitimate blame to be put on Trump's administration and how they dealt with their first response to this pandemic.
Absolutely. And one of the most telling things I know I can tell people is I listened to NPR last night. I didn't watch anything to do with Trump. I've only listened. I didn't watch when he's talked today. And I'm going to tell you what, if you just listen to how he's talking, he's on script.
Oh, yeah. I was saying that Mandy earlier today. I was like, you can tell when he's reading.
He is on script.
It's so obvious.
Someone who really has power in this country pulled him aside and said, I don't want to hear your bullshit. I don't give a fuck about your Trumpisms. You read from this teleprompter, you read from this script, or we'll find someone who will. And he gets up there, and it's just it's like the semi-illiterate kid reading in fucking reading class in grade school. He's just That's
his announcement from the Oval Office was miserable to watch. That was just the worst. Certainly didn't inspire any confidence in me, and I don't think very many other people.
That's what scares me, is that Trump's personality is such a strong, overriding personality that somebody who he either respects, which I can't imagine I could probably count him on one hand and have one finger left over it, tops, in this world that he respects, he listened to, or someone who scares him came to him and said, read, and that's all you do.
It's not a person, I don't think. It's the market. He's been hinging his whole presidency on how good he's going to be for the market. And look at how much the stock market is up. And when that started taking a plunge, he realized that he had to adapt in some way. So his intent on trying to bring calm to the people is really just trying to calm the market down.
Yeah, but whatever you got to do, buddy. It's shitty, but at this point, it's like he's who we got. So, well, what are you gonna do? That's who's steering the boat.
He's who we have for the time being.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, spring chicken.
I brought stuff on Sporgy, Rich. This is how Bill Maher's nightmare scenario plays out. Can't step down if there's no election. Ohio set a precedent this week. Canceling an election.
Well, they moved the primary, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, we have other options. I mean, Michigan is we can already vote by mail. So, I mean, I can understand moving something like especially a late stage primary, which I understand that Ohio is going to be a battleground state and everyone wants to see what the numbers look like in the primary, and they want to project that out onto the November election. But it's not really that important. The Ohio primary is not going to change anything.
Yeah,
Bernie's going to get.
It's a wrap.
Big enough win to stay in the race.
Yeah, it's over. Out of fucking nowhere, Joe Biden just shows up and dominates. We're not even talking about Elizabeth Warren anymore. She vaporized in 2 weeks.
Yeah, but the idea of delaying or having this interrupt a national election for president, I can't see that happening.
Well, I hope it doesn't.
If we're still in this type of situation that we're in as I speak, come election day in November, we're probably going to have, honestly, a lot bigger problems than whether people are going to get out and vote that day. Because, I mean, if there's no point where, okay, we stopped the train, has things slowed down? Have we flattened the bubble enough? Can we try to start the train back up? And it's November? Yeah, dude. I mean, at that point, I'm thinking, to me, there's two things you got to watch for. When the trucks and the trains stop moving. When the trucks and the trains stop moving, if you still got jokes in you, then you're whistling past the graveyard. Because when there's no more shit to be found at the stores, we're 3 days away from, hey, is that barbecue I smell my neighbor cooking? Let me go over there and take some of that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if we haven't gotten a handle on this thing by November, you're absolutely right. We'd be in one miserable position anyway. Too much to be worrying about how we're going to vote. But I think that's really extreme. I can't imagine us, not having a handle on it by that point.
There's only a few ways that it gets to that point, and we don't have a handle on it. And the top two I can think of is, one, this is one of the most aggressive and fastly mutating viruses they've ever fucking known. So people who get it it again, and it's worse, and get it again,
which we have no proof of. But yeah, you're right.
Or this is like blowing the seventh seal, Book of Revelation shit, and the government's just trying to keep us as calm as possible while the Titanic goes down. That's the only two ways I don't see this getting better and that's at least plateauing.
Too much faith in government, in my opinion.
I'm with you, but I'm just saying this.
Yeah,
I don't see how a third way.
I think natural things. I think the end of cold and flu season might tamp this down a little bit.
Well, we don't know, but traditionally, the spring will usually wipe out a lot of viruses like this. We don't know if it's going to affect the coronavirus at all or not, but it's likely that that's what we're going to see.
I mean, at this point, I'm already counting spring 2020 as it's over, done. It's going to be lost. We're going to be, hey, remember spring 2020 when we all didn't do anything?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I think who knows? It's probably foolish to make predictions, but as long as we're talking about it, I think by the time the end of spring rolls around, we're going to be over the hump on this thing, and we're going to be anxious. People are going to be anxious to get out there and just do shit.
Yeah.
And I know that these businesses aren't going to just pop right back into place like nothing happened, and it's going to take a while, but things are going to go back to normal.
You're Trump. We're going to come back big. We're going to win. If you guys watch this press conference, I want to tell them, stop saying win. Stop it. Stop saying we're going to win. This isn't a game.
Yeah.
Stop. I know you're locked into your little phrases and your little mindset and all the little shit you learned in your 40 years in business, but stop saying, be a leader. God damn it. And I notice, too, every time he starts treading off the path, Pence jumps right in. the other day he started talking shit about the New York Times, and all of a sudden Pence just pushes him out of the way and starts talking.
Well, good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because at this point, I don't care about your petty fucking beefs with the. In fact, can we just get Trump? Yes, you're the president. Hey, MAGA fags, go worship him over there where those people are coughing. Okay, can we get adults at the podium? Can we get scientists? Can we get people who know what they're talking about? Go. And I swear to God, the first reporter that tries to ask him, is it calling it the China flu racist to start some shit? We're throwing you in with the coughing people too.
Yes.
Go. Yes, did you see that shit?
Saying where something came from doesn't make it racist.
I don't give a fuck. Stop trying to fucking send up the fucking virtue signal, bat signal in the middle of this bullshit. Stop with your petty nonsense, folks. Okay? You weren't on the show. Aaron and I did a show that you weren't on a couple weeks ago. Well, a month and a half ago now, and I think about it. And this is what I said. You people that want a socialist utopia, here's the thing. You got to make sure that there's people who have jobs in an economy that works and people who are healthy enough to go to work before you can start worrying about spreading the wealth around. Okay? And then even more so, your identity politics bullshit. Right now is not the time for none of this shit, right? Yeah. Knock it the fuck off, grow the fuck up, and understand. All that bullshit will either be there at the end of this or we'll all be dead. Grow the fuck up and realize those are your two. This is a binary choice. Yeah. That's it.
Live or die. Keep processing oxygen or don't.
See, there's
no gray area here.
This is where we have a woeful lack of people. Well, we appear to have a woeful lack of politicians who are willing to go, let's put our bullshit aside because we got bigger problems right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, in Trump's announcement, the one that we were referring to earlier from the Oval Office, he was talking about how this is not the time for partisan politics, and we should be putting this aside and working together.
And we know he doesn't believe any of that.
And what did he say right after that shat on it?
And then he went on Twitter and talk shit about the Democrats.
And there it is.
like a couple hours later.
I'll say this.
That's how long it lasted with him.
I'll say this. I give Whitmer some credit when he went after her in a tweet, and she came back with, I'm glad that, you're having fun on Twitter while everything's going on, but we have bigger issues than petty Twitter disputes at the moment. Maybe you'd like to focus on those.
Did she not see the irony in what she was typing? Like, she was doing the same thing he was.
And no, she wasn't. That's not clapping back at him, though. That's putting him in his place. I don't see that as being the same at all.
I kind of saw it as like, you just did the same thing. The best response is no response. Let him think you're stupid.
Well, I mean, sadly, I think it's a case-by-case basis. I do think you're right with Trump. The best response is no response because he waved bye-bye to logic and reason a long time ago. He don't give a fuck. In fact, he's like, ooh, they responded? I got a notification. I bet you his little fucking mushroom dick gets as 5/8 hard as it possibly can. Ooh, somebody to give him a new Twitter nickname to and rally up at my
But people
rally.
Don't understand that to clap back at him. That's what he wants. You've fallen into the trap.
I mean, I understand, but I also understand she's been governor for what?
How is that falling trap? She's saying that she's got better things to do than argue with him on Twitter.
Yeah, do you not see the irony in that?
No,
I have better things to do than argue with you on Twitter while I'm arguing with you on Twitter.
That's not really continuing an argument on Twitter.
Well, we can agree to disagree on this one.
I mean, I get what you're saying because he's like the little shit kid that we all knew growing up. Any attention's good attention to him. He doesn't care. And that's why it's like, oh my God, this is the leader we got for this shit. Like, bet you somewhere W's going, bet you miss me now, huh?
Yeah.
Like I'd take a lot just to see Daddy Bush, Clinton, or Obama. I'd take any three of those over fucking Trump. Bush, man, how much if I had to drink that day? Bush over Trump, like, yeah. What Bush we talking about? Bush now or Bush when he was president? Because he had a deer in headlights stare when he was president too many times.
Daddy Bush died, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right, yeah, David Copperfield. Oh, yeah, he died shortly after that. I don't know. There's so many people now, I'm not sure if they're dead or alive.
Oh, it's about to get worse.
Well, irony's not lost in what I just said. What we're talking about.
I mean,
Oops.
this is another thing I've heard said by multiple people. When Tom Hanks announced that he had it, they're like, okay, now if Tom Hanks dies, I'm worried. I'm like, why is he the panic button for you? All the money he's got. He can afford the best healthcare in the entire world.
Well, what did Earl say in the chat? What did he say? Like, these people are supposed to be untouchable? I'm like, what? He doesn't have an immune system? What, you get rich enough, your immune system doesn't get anything?
When they say that Hollywood lives in a bubble, they don't mean literally.
You're right.
Like, they do still walk the same earth that we do.
Oh, God. So does this mean that at the end of this, the only two actors we are going to have are ones who have literally lived in bubbles for roles? So John Travolta and Jake Gyllenhaal? That's going to be our only thespians left over after
Jared Leto. Did you hear about him? He was on some kind of like 30-day retreat where he was cut off from the world. He came
out to that and he was like, what the fuck's going on? Where's all the toilet paper?
He came out 2 days ago like, what the fuck's going on?
He's such a fucking pretentious douchebag. I swear to God. I don't know why I'm shocked, but like he has like he holds these get-togethers for his fans, and like amazingly, we're going to go ahead and say like I'm going to give a very conservative amount. I'm going to say about 70% of them were women, and they're all just dressed just dressed like him, and he's leading them in all these chants and shit. And I'm like, and he's wearing robes, they're wearing robes. I'm like, dude, serious?
Wait a minute, Jared Leto has a cult?
Yeah, I was gonna say
that's what I'm saying.
Is the Kool-Aid next?
What? I'm like, he's not even that great of an actor. It's just being pretty. That's all. That's all you got to do to woo the.
Hey, he got his Oscar.
Wait, but I'm
for dressing up like a woman, for being pretty. by that rationale, the drummer for the Foo Fighters should have 5 Oscars because he's the hottest motherfucker I've ever seen in drag ever.
Get that man a Grammy. He looks hot in a dress.
But seriously, what goes on at these things? Like, I don't understand what you're describing.
I don't know. It was
some kind of retreat where he was like, it was 30 days. He like no cell phones, no outside.
Not you. The robes, the women.
Oh.
I have a handful of female friends who are obsessed with him, who were posting and sharing this story about you can sign up for this and go to this and et cetera, et cetera. And they're like, boy, we wish we had the money. And I'm just like,
sign up for it like it's a fucking seminar or like a meet and greet?
Yeah, like Tony Robbins with more robes and longer hair.
Wow. I Googled Jared Leto cult. So many. Like 2 Jared Leto's weird ass cult. Is Jared Leto a cult leader? It looks like Jared Leto may have bought a private island. Jared Leto posts bizarre photo. Fans are calling it a cult. 30 Seconds to Mars may have started a cult, apparently.
They suck. They're like 2 tiers below Nickelback. Who gives a shit about
everyone's heard a couple weird stories about Jared Leto, but I had no fucking idea. Like,
oh, whoa!
It shows you how sexist the media can be, right? Because it's like every day we hear stories about how fucking crazy Gwyneth Paltrow is, and whatever fake science products she's selling currently. And meanwhile, Jared Leto is honestly off the deep end.
Here's the thing. And I'm no fan of Gwyneth Paltrow, but I'll look at it this way. She's just selling idiot snake oil.
Oh, yeah.
Cults are a lot more dangerous thing. Now, I don't know if I go so far as to call it a cult.
White ladies with too much money.
Yeah. And to her credit, she's selling products to people who can afford them and want to be associated with her. That's fine. She's selling based on her I was going to say personality, but it's not that. She doesn't really have one. Her persona, I guess.
She found the grift in the system.
Right, and that's fine. What she's not doing is making claims like Goop is going to cure coronavirus.
No, that's Jim.
Fucking Alex Jones and Jim Baker are doing. How are these people allowed to be on the fucking air anywhere?
How does Jim Baker have any street cred with Christians.
How does he have any cred with himself? How does he go home and look in the mirror and go,
he sleeps like a fucking newborn baby. Are you kidding me?
I bet.
He sleeps like Harvey Weinstein after he just raped a cast of Glee. Come on, man. He don't give a fuck.
Jared Leto is allegedly calling this thing, it's an experience for his fans. It's like an immersive experience for 32nd to Mars. It's called Mars Island. He's just like fucking Jesus.
Look, I'm telling you, scroll down to the, hold on, the third picture. Look at all these.
Cruise?
It's like all these women and a couple like ambiguously gay guys. And that's it. That's it.
Yeah, look at this picture. Look. Oh, holy fucking shit.
You think I'm bullshitting? I'm not. This motherfucker.
All a bunch of chicks.
All in white, all with the same like wrapped. I have to pay attention to the master speaking. Everybody be quiet. You got one guy in a Marvel shirt, another guy in it looks like some cartoon shirt, and that's the only guys I see. Seriously. And they're both way too happy to be there. They look like.
And what is this all based on? The fact that he has a really symmetrical face?
Yes.
Like, what is there anything going on there? Like what?
What? Okay. What about him does he deserve this type of like worship and adulation?
Chicks in the 90s wanted to fuck him?
I don't. Look, I never thought like. I used to think that Jared Leto was a decent actor, and now I don't even know. I didn't like. How can you have an opinion about it?
He's such a tryhard, sending used condoms and butchered pigs to his co-stars in Suicide Squad. Stop trying so hard, you fucking loser. Heath Ledger, we didn't know everything Heath Ledger did till he died after he did the fucking role. All right? This douchebag was trying to like, oh, look at me. I'm so edgy and artsy and fartsy, and I'm going to send used rubbers because I'm playing the Joker and I got to get inside his head. Just shut the fuck up and do the role. Seriously, like Kevin Smith says. He's like, you know what a professional actor does? You don't have to sit there and go, now think of something really hurtful or like, you're a wolf in sheep's clothing, and these are sheep, but they don't know you're a wolf in sheep's clothing. So,
a pro is a pro.
Yeah, you just go cry, and they start crying. End of story.
Hey, people talk shit about Kevin Spacey all they want, but the guy's a pro as far as craft of acting, and from what I hear, sexually harassing.
Yeah, he's a pro at that too, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the first person that came to mind when we think pro. I did like, yeah, that guy Kevin Spacey. You don't probably have to get in a headspace. You just tell him be mad, and he's mad.
And you know what?
Be sad. Be sad.
I just realized, you know who's going to survive this fucking outbreak? Everybody that was at those fucking beaches in Florida, all those kids, and the people hanging out with Jared Leto. That's going to be who's left. Dude bros and like borderline morbidly obese middle-aged women who got to flip the cushion after catching a rerun of My So-Called Life. That's it. That's all. The rest of us dead. We're dog food.
That's the sound of the show. That's the sound of the show coming to a halt.
Oh, we're gonna be fine.
Rich pulled the emergency brake. Dude, I'm fucking around with you, man. It's you got to keep. That's the other thing too. We're allowed to make jokes, people. Humor seems to have disappeared. Like it was already on its way out. Let's not kill it with this, people.
Unregimented.
ChristopherMedia.net.
For the ones who know that a little late is always too late, and that the clock doesn't stop just because you're missing a part. Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry. And our Keep Stock inventory management solutions help ensure you have the right stuff in the right place at exactly the right time. Visit Grainger.com/keepstock to learn more. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
A different future starts with you. That's why GoDaddy does more than help you find a name. You can create, sell, and get found online, so any small business can drive change or build an empire. We need a new generation of thinking. Your way of thinking. Start different at GoDaddy.com.
Imagine the greatest collection of real-life entertainment on the planet, all in one place. Go ahead. Dare to stream with Discovery Plus. Stream now. Stream what you love.
ChristopherMedia.net.
Unregimented.
Oh, God. I'm waiting for... Okay, so when the dust settles, like once the dust settled after 9/11, I remember all the think pieces that said, has the age of irony came to an end?
Yeah, actually, but for different reasons.
Are we not allowed to be,
give it 10 years?
Are we not allowed to be ironically funny anymore?
No, give it 10 years, and you won't be.
And it's going to be, has the age of humor come to an end? I saw an article that said basically, get used to this. This is the new normal for humanity.
I did see something the other day. Someone was saying, hey, that's it for the handshake.
Yeah, good. Like, did we need it?
I guess. It's a way to greet people.
It's a way. It's not the only way, right?
It's true.
Plus, they just keep getting more complicated.
Why, you hanging out with black guys?
Really, I'm fine with that. But you're right. I mean, why would we go, like, things are going to go back to normal in a lot of ways, but other things aren't. A lot of our behavior is going to change, and probably for most of us permanently, because there's just simple steps that we can take to protect ourselves going forward. And one of them is not unnecessarily touching other people.
I have found myself side-eyeing people in public the last couple of days. Like, that look like 6 feet to you, motherfucker? That's my inner dialogue. Hey, man, you watching the news? You are way too fucking close to me. Hey, as a person who hates people, this is great, by the way. We were talking about this on Weedsman, Aaron. Social distancing, Gen X is like, we got this shit.
Yeah.
I swear to, if I didn't have to leave the house for work, this would not, I mean, I would still be freaked out because God knows, how long this shit's going to go on and how bad it's going to get. But if it seemed like, okay, there's a light at the end of the tunnel and it's not the train, I'd be like riding this out, no problem.
Yeah, my wife and I were like, what? Don't go out, avoid crowds, done and done.
Yeah.
My favorite line was you, Aaron. All that changed about my weekend is I had to go to another place to buy bread.
Yeah, I actually had to go more places over the weekend.
We are Gen X. You don't want us to hang out with people? Done and done.
The only thing that I broke my rule with was, and they were doing, at the time, it was no more than 10 people. Now they're recommending no more than 5. But I went to the recreational store that opened up here by my house, and I was like, if I'm going to go out, I'm going out high. I'm going to need 2 things of those edibles. Yeah, the 200 milligram ones.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep. And then as I walked out, I swear to God, I looked over my shoulder and was like, what am I looking for? A cop? First of all, with everything going up, if a cop was to roll up and be like,
last thing on their mind right now.
Yeah, look, fat man, we know you got edibles. You just came out of the marijuana shop. Keep walking. We don't care. And I've been like, all right. But still, it just felt weird. It's like, I just walked in just as easy as buying a fucking case of beer.
Oh, it's nice, isn't it? That's right. You guys are just now. I've been doing this for 5 years. Ooh.
Right.
Yeah, you guys are just now experiencing, oh, shit, I just went to the weed store. It's a great feeling the first time you do it. Oh, shit. And yeah, you have that exact same feeling. You're trying to be like, oh, man. Wait, no. I had the feeling in Colorado, like, what am I trying to hide?
Yeah. It's people walking out with the pack. I mean, they stapled up the,
like, oh yeah,
put it in a bag, staple it, so it's
like having a sixer. Duh.
And they're like, it's funny because I think they started at this particular one. I want to say Saturday, and this was Monday. I went, and they were telling people, they're like, okay, so this bag that I just stapled, don't open this bag up in your car. Wait till you get home. And I'm going, God damn, really? That's the equivalent of saying, this case you just bought, don't open it up and start doing roadies on the way home. It's like, but I guess you do have to.
You can't tell me what to do.
Well, I did hear that today.
They're just trying to save you a ticket, I guess. But
I guess
I did hear that the rec dispensaries got shut down. Is that the case? I heard the other day that.
I went yesterday.
Oh, okay. So
I went today.
Okay, so that bud tender I was talking to was a liar.
Where's the place near you?
Middle Belt and Michigan Avenue. It's just east of Middle Belt.
Really?
On the south side of Michigan Avenue. Yeah.
Oh shit! I've been going out to River Rouge. What's it called?
Flower Bowl. Free plug. If you're in Inkster, Michigan, it's like right on the border of Inkster and Wayne.
Which, if you're in Inkster, Michigan, just get out.
Yeah, you're like podcast.
Man, now
fuck is heck?
I wonder how reliable this information is from this bud tender, because he said medical dispensaries will be allowed to stay open as long as pharmacies are allowed to stay open. Now I'm wondering about this gentleman's information.
Well, first of all,
it's got to be pretty low down on the list of vectors that the state's looking at.
Actually, I did see on the news the other day, she did make a statement. She said dispensary deliveries will remain open. Like I swear to God.
Hey.
She made a statement about it. Like medical dispensaries are going to stay open. Like, all right, cool.
You want to know what state is going to be in for some fucking some hell? Pennsylvania. They shut down all alcohol sales. You cannot buy alcohol.
What are they doing?
You cannot buy alcohol in that state anywhere.
Dude.
Apparently, we don't have to worry about that because we don't have what they call package stores or state liquor stores.
Yeah.
Our liquor stores are privately owned. We give them as business owners the permits to sell. A lot of other states, their liquor stores they're
state run.
Yeah, like you go to I think it's where are the Mormons from? Utah? Yeah, Utah.
Right.
You go to Utah and their liquor stores, that's actually a policeman is selling you or policewoman is selling you the booze. They have a badge and they can arrest you right there on the spot. So yeah, I'm like, because that's not just Philly that now doesn't have booze. That's Pittsburgh.
You're going to tell everyone to shelter in place, and then you're not going to give them their drugs? Like, how many domestic violence cases are they going to have on their hands?
Right.
More than
without sports, no sports, no alcohol. Oh, the poor women in Pennsylvania.
Oh, they're suffering.
Now
they
they're
don't
just
have the WNBA.
Now they're just holed up in a house with firearms.
Right. And no drugs, no alcohol. Apparently, in Michigan, dispensaries are deemed as essential businesses. Word.
It was funny that today it's split up. There's an entryway, then you go through a door, and there's another security guard. There's a security guard when you walk to the front door, he checks your ID. The other security guard, he's like, open your jacket. Then you go up, and then there's a security guard upstairs, and he goes, medical or recreational? If you're medical, you go on one side. If you're recreational, you go on the other. You buy, and then you go out the back door, and you go out a different door than you came in. So, I mean, it's just like snake you in and out. You know what I'm saying? Like, unless you get hung up at the buy process, you walk in, you know what you want, you just point to what you want, they give it to you, they ring you up, and you're out the door. I was in and out in less than a minute both times.
And nobody wants to hang out. They want to go home and do their shit.
But I mean, they also they weren't like letting people gather and linger. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, come on, we only 5 people allowed at a time. Let's go. You know, that type of thing. And I'm like, I'm cool with it. Normally, I'd be like, who the fuck are you rushing? But this ain't normally. Well, this is the type of shit you got to get used to, folks.
Yeah, my dispensary, you're going one at a time as far as into the bud room. And now the waiting room, different story, but at the same time, we were definitely all sitting. I was like, yep, I'm 6 feet away from that guy. But yeah, they're only letting us in one at a time, so neat.
There's got to be, if they haven't invented some sort of personal proximity sensor, it's got to be on the way.
Oh, did you see that guy in Italy that was wearing that cardboard thing that jetted out 6 feet in diameter from him?
No.
That's the prototype.
I just like it's just a sensor, you know, like you have on your car when you're backing up, and a little bit of radar that just bounces off of people and be like, "Hey, you're too close to me."
Don't you remember that on cars?
Please,
you'd walk close to someone's car and they had, what was it, the Viper system? Please step away from the vehicle. Yeah, fuck you.
Right,
You have 6 seconds before. Like, what are you, Ed 209? Fuck you. I ain't stepping away from shit.
Shut up, kid. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, you're going to set your alarm off. That way everyone can continue to ignore it.
Yeah.
But, no, there's a military term that I've used for quite a few years, and people are like, huh? And people are starting to get it. I'm like, hey, man, respect my AO. You're like, what's your AO? My area of operation? Respect it. Yeah. This is my no-fly zone. Don't come here, you know? And they're like, yeah, oh, we get it now. Area of operation. I'm like, yeah, it's about 3.5 feet, but apparently it got extended during the apocalypse. So,
hey, in high school we used to say, hey, man, back the fuck up. There's always that as well.
Kind of hard to say while working with the public.
I mean, hey, we might get to that point in 2 weeks.
By the way, I
Back
just
the
gotta
fuck
say,
up.
I was gonna say, having to work with the public, the vast majority have been cool. The people that haven't,
Dude.
I want you to understand, you are having less and less options. Do not burn your bridges, motherfucker.
Hey, man, I was talking with a person I work with tonight, a business owner. I was joking with her. It's like, there's always that 10%. No matter what situation, there's always that 10%. 10% of people are always dicks.
There's 10% of people that are learning that we have the right to refuse service. Go someplace else. I mean, that's just
what based on what type of behavior specifically?
Rude, not wanting to come in my house. I'm not coming in your house, dude. That's not good an idea for either of us. You know, arguing with us on the phone. Normally we have to. I don't know why this is true. In certain business establishments, people think that they can barter like it's the Middle Ages or some shit. They can call and be like, right. Yeah, I want a pizza and I want to pay this. Well, then you better find a pizza place that sells it for that.
It's a price line, motherfucker. There is a menu. And there are prices. Not get to name your price.
And when people call and they're like, okay, I want a large 5 toppings, I'll give them the coupon, the best coupon I can. And they're, what? That's ridiculous. You know how much I can get at Little Caesars? Then go to Little Caesars.
Go ahead, Yeah, take your ass to Little Caesars.
See, now, usually that is a last resort. That's my first. I'm not arguing with you. I got people on hold. Go to Little Caesars. Click.
Can't do that now. Little Caesars delivers.
Don't give a fuck. If they won't deliver if they were problem customers. Or you get to people's door and they're like, how much is it, man? Yeah, it's like 22 something, some change. Man, I got 19, man. Can you make it work? No. Later. I'm not going to sit there and try to. Do you have a credit card we go? No, I don't have time for that. And by the way, I'm not standing here with you for the next 5 minutes within 3 feet of each other, passing a phone back and forth. Okay?
All right,
later.
Well, so these are just your run-of-the-mill assholes who are not altering their behavior during this pandemic.
No. As your business,
has your business been affected in general? Like, has it gone up? Has it gone down?
There was
more. Pizza places seem to be doing pretty well because they're primarily carry out.
Yeah.
We are not a dine-in. That's what's saving our ass. Because we don't have that high overhead as far as space and the business we're going to lose with dine-in. Carry-outs are starting to thin out. Deliveries are starting to do well. I've had a few of the contact-free deliveries to people where they'll request, and I'm fine with this.
What do you mean? You just drop it on the porch?
Yeah, they call.
Fling it out the window.
That's what they do. They call
like
and
the
go.
Paper boy. You just
the
chuck
boy
it on their front lawn.
The Nintendo game. Like if I get it through the front window, I get bonus points. Cool,
Yeah.
But no.
The pizza guy just busted our front window. Well, at least it didn't touch us.
But yeah, they'll call and they'll go, "Hey, I'd like to order a pizza, but I want to pay for it over the phone. And could you have the driver set it on like the chair or stool or whatever on the front porch?" And they'll either tip on the card then when they give us their info, or one guy, it's funny as shit. He left me a tip in a Ziploc bag, but it was like one of the weed baggies, the half baggies.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I know what you do, sinner. But anyways,
he's an entrepreneur. It's recreational now. Now he's a budding businessman.
Well, the point was, it's like, why did you touch the money with your bare hand to put it in a bag, and then you hand me the bag?
With many other people, it's kind of like, giving somebody. Well, I guess it's not the same because you can still spend the money, but it's like giving somebody shitty toilet paper, but they put it in a plastic bag.
Yeah, but I mean, I've stepped up my precautions. We have hand sanitizer. We have more soap than we know what to fucking do with. Well, I mean, we know what to do with it, but you get my point. Like, we ordered more soap on this last truck in one order than I've ever seen in one order. Like, they brought in same with another essential item. We'll put it that way. I was like, how many cases we got? I'm going to start trading this hand soap and fucking toilet paper for blowjobs, man. Shit.
Well, I went to the dollar store today, and the person that rung me up was wearing gloves. Those blue rubber gloves.
Oh, every clerk I've come in contact with in the last week, everywhere has got gloves on.
Yeah.
This is what I don't get though. Like, you put the rubber gloves on, right? And then you probably touch your face, and you handle money, right? Like, you can take those rubber gloves off at the end of the day and maybe keep yourself from being infected, but it doesn't stop any infection from passing from customer to customer through the money that's being changed out, and they're touching it.
Trust me, we had that conversation 19 times 2 days ago with the business owners I deal with. I was like, trust me, people are middle of the road on gloves because it gives a lot of people an excuse to, I don't have to wash my hands. I'll just use these gloves all day. But at the same time, too, it's also like, I don't know, this is a buzzword that's probably used a lot nowadays. But it's an optics thing, too, for customers.
Absolutely. They want to see that you're doing something. But yeah, if you really think about it, you're not washing your hands. You're not changing out your gloves. You're not washing those gloves. So anything you come in contact with those gloves on, it stays on those gloves for the entire day and gets spread to everything that you touch with those gloves.
You guys, I'm scared to think most people think like you guys, which means they would act like that if they were in my situation. This is how I literally handle an order. I take an order, I put it in a bag, I walk out to my car, put the bag in my car, I get in my car, I have a box of those gloves. I put on a pair, I drive, I deliver. After I deliver, if they hand me cash, I put it in my pocket, still have the gloves on.
Right.
If it's a receipt, I put that in my pocket, and then I pull those gloves off to where they're inside out, and I got a bag that I put them in, and if I have another delivery, I pull out a new set of gloves. I don't even touch my car with the gloves I had on after I come into contact with the customers.
Right. See, that's the way to do it. That's the way to do it. That actually
everyone's
makes sense.
not like you. That's what sucks, though.
And I looked at my boss and said, "You better order more boxes of gloves because that's what I'm doing." And I don't give a shit how many we go through. I don't want to hear about that. I just don't. I like, seriously, that's not. And I had two customers. One was not a regular, and they were like, "Oh, they're making you wear gloves." And I was just like, "Yeah, whatever. I'm not going to sit here and. I'm sorry you're lonely, but I'm not going to sit here and talk to you. Join a fucking join some. Like, I know, seriously. Like,
hey, he's delivering food, not company, folks.
Yeah,
right? He's not here to bring you conversation. He's bringing you pizza.
Like, join a chat forum, get on Reddit. I don't know what to tell you. But then the other one was regular, and he looked down at my hand when I held out the food, and he saw the gloves, and he goes, "Is that for you or me?" And I started smiling. I was like,
everyone.
I went a little bit of A and B, and he's like, "That's cool."
That should have been my man. Give him my food.
No, he was cool about it. It's just he was like, I think he was wondering, like, is this your way of saying you're sick?
Right.
I mean, that's why I haven't put a mask on, because from everything I've heard, a mask is only going to keep you from spreading it. It's not going to keep you from getting it. And I don't want to panic people.
Yep.
And I do have, by the way, access to, like,
just draw a smiley face on the front of it.
like the Snapchat ones.
But no, I do have
like a bare face on it.
Medical grade mask, but I think that'd scare people even more if I'm showing up at the door looking like a half-assed
"Hey, Dr. Turk"
employee, to the CDC. Here's your food. By the way, if you came into contact with anybody that might be sick, get in a van. It's like,
have you met my partner, Brad Pitt? He's right.
You got to get the big, like, mask that covers the whole bottom of your face and then has that clear shield. They're doing the operating and the blood splattering so it doesn't get in their eyes.
You get a mask that's got like
you know what I'm talking about, the upside down visor thing that, like, goes in front of their face.
Oh yeah.
Get one that's got like a monster mouth on it. Rah.
Well, dude, custom designed face mask. Like, you better get on Etsy right now.
I'm thinking of all the scene raver kids who've been wearing those fucking stupid masks for fucking. Right. They're fine. They're like, if they're our age and they're from the 90s, they're like, let me pull that out and blow that off. It smells like Matthew Lillard in Hackers. Holy shit.
Yeah, you know what? Now every time I see somebody walking around in a mask, I just think of, like, that thing's probably just stuffed full of Vicks Vapor Rub and they're rolling their ass off.
Now we can look at footage from Michael Jackson from the last 5 years of his life, and it looks completely normal.
He's still setting trends, man.
Yeah, he's a trendsetter. Yeah, he was a decade ahead
even
of his time.
Gone. he knew.
Leave it for a coronavirus to come along, not only wipe out all the baby boomers and what's left of the silent generation, but to legitimize Michael Jackson again.
Here's a question for you. Do you guys know why a lot of the media is referring to this as the novel coronavirus?
Is it a type of strain? Like, isn't coronavirus like
coronavirus is
what a flu is, and then the novel's the strain of it?
Well, I thought it was. Did I guess
right? They're not using it like COVID-19 is the name of it. I don't know. I just found it really curious. Like I read a number of news stories on it today, and they all refer to it as the novel coronavirus. So I mean, I guess maybe saying that like it's a specific. That's to say it's a specific strain of coronavirus and not all coronavirus.
Because I've heard people say like the H1N1 is a coronavirus. It's just it's a different type.
Yeah.
But we have a name for it.
You know what? I'm just thinking, I've read The Stand too much. It's like the super flu in The Stand. It had different names depending on who you talk to. It was Captain Trips. It was Tube Neck. It was super flu. It was this. I'm just like, coronavirus. Was it COVID-19? Novel virus. Wuhan flu.
Wuhan, I got you all in check.
Wuhan, I got you all in quarantine. Like just whatever the fuck. I just figured it was different names. Honestly,
it's funny. I keep hearing. This is not a joke. Corona may suffer the same fate as those AIDS chocolates in the 80s.
Oh, that's so stupid. We know Corona had nothing to do with this.
But apparently sales have just stopped.
Oh, Christ. If Corona wasn't such a shit beer, I'd go out and buy some.
Right? Yeah, I'd feel bad for them, maybe.
You throw a lime in there, it's drinkable.
The traditional, the brown bottle Corona, not bad. For a lighter beer.
See, that's the thing. And I know this is my one beer snobby thing. I hate clear and green bottle beers. They let light in and they taste. Yes. They got a skunky taste to them.
Yep.
I've had beer snobs tell me, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not true. And I'm like, okay, fine. Then it's all in my head. Then let me drink my fucking dark bottle beer and leave me the fuck alone.
Those beer snobs don't know what they're talking about. The beer snobs I know say absolutely correct. Light is the enemy of beer.
Yeah. So I'm good. The only time I ever drank any beer that was like that type of shit was Rolling Rock was our tripping beer in summer of '99. Every time we tripped, we'd get a couple cases of Rolling Rock. And it was, the only thing I can think is because it's so much like drinking water.
Yeah.
And when you're tripping, acid trumps beer. So you can just keep going.
No, I hear you. That's Corona and Rolling Rock are both good beers for doing in conjunction with other drugs. Unless it's ecstasy. If you're doing any kind of MDA, MDMA, you're going to dehydrate yourself if you drink too much.
No, and why would you want to ruin that beautiful high with a drunk? And I like drinking. The
right amount of alcohol on top of some ecstasy is it can work.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net. ChristopherMedia.net. Unregimented.
All this talk about alcohol, it's making me wonder, how am I supposed to be able to go back to work without a shot of whiskey in my fucking coffee every morning? All right.
Right.
We're 4 days in. I'm already used to that. All right. I'm expected to go back.
I had my first work from home day today, and I have to say I was rather proud of myself. I hope I continue this trend, but I, started work on time. I finished work on time.
I don't have a wife to distract you. Lucky.
That's true. I just have my very hairy co-workers that always want to sit in my lap. And I also sat in the same room for 8 hours as my cannabis stash, and I didn't touch it. I did not do my work high, even though I could have, and nobody would have known the difference. But I just know, like, I have to.
Talk to
I
me
know,
7
and
days.
I'm sure I'll cave at some point, but if this was to be my job going forward, I would have to make some major adjustments because I'm just too used to having this work and home life separation thing. I go to work, I do my work, I come home, I don't think about my work. And when the line gets blurred like this, I don't really trust myself to be self-motivated. I
learned that lesson the first time I worked from home a couple years ago when I got to for a year, and I learned that lesson then. Like now I've learned some things from that time to apply to now. So yeah, it does take some getting used to. Because trust me, what do you think school got us in the mood for? To get structure. Now work is just school when you're an adult. It's something that you do at the same time frame every day.
Yeah, and so I have to have some semblance of structure so I can make sure that I'm as productive as I would be if I went to the office.
Yeah, for me, my commute is now turned into turning my phone off of silent. That means I'm now at work, and then turning it back on silent means we're done for the day.
Oh. That's a good idea. I would do that if I wouldn't get bombarded constantly with sales calls and scams.
I have no choice. I had 2 jobs till this week. One job is serving the public. The other job was informing them. So yeah, with this, I got no choice. I'm dealing with people serving food. Like I gotta be. At this point, I'm almost at the level of on call that a doctor is, which I know is excessive. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm honestly, I'm really lucky. There's a lot of people that it's not just. I am complaining about having to adjust to work from home when there's millions of people that just don't have jobs to go to anymore. Yeah, I don't want to come off as insensitive. I am really lucky to have a job that I can do from home, that I can do without interruption during this crisis. I'm also lucky to have a job that isn't directly affected by this. I mean, this is going to affect every business in some way or another. But the business that I'm in of generally product design, it doesn't just stop, because we're like, whether people are buying stuff right now or not, we're assuming that a year from now, when the shit that we're designing will come out, people are going to be buying shit again, and they probably will be. So,
I feel bad for the guy that was on after me at the radio station. And now, keep in mind, he's 26 and he lives at home, so he'll be all right. But his one job, but he had 2 jobs. One of them, part-time at the radio station. See ya! The radio station went down to all the
what was his other job, movie theater?
No, short order cook at a bar.
There you go.
Yeah, so this guy went from 2 jobs, making a bunch of money and nothing.
Well,
in the span of one day.
He might still have a job, because I'm definitely not naming names, because we would, if they ever found out, I said it would be actionable. There's bars I know of for a fact around here that are offering curbside pickup and delivery of food and alcohol.
I don't know about the alcohol. Yeah, that's taking their life in their hands there. But no, plenty of places have. The health department's been granting all kinds of temporary permits in all kinds of states. Michigan's one of them, to keep a lot of these businesses afloat.
So that's what I'm saying. I mean, that if that's the case, maybe that's how some of these bars are going to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, here's the concern that, like, let's get over we peak and we start slowly coming down, and the numbers of infected stop growing exponentially, and they start coming down slowly. Let's take a look at that. Here's what worries me. Who's going to be left? And of the businesses, the small businesses, restaurants, pizza places, whatever, that are still standing and are still operating, who goes back to work? Okay, if you've been sick, go back to work. Okay, that makes sense, as long as we know for a fact, once you've had it, you're not going to get it again. You know what I'm saying? Like, and how are we going to know when we don't have the testing for this? Yeah. We're going to go by someone's word. Oh, I was sick, but now I'm not. I'm good. Come back to work. I mean, I think that is where people are not thinking about.
Right. I mean, I feel like again, we're going to get a handle on this, but it's not going to be, I mean, an ultimate quote unquote handle on this would be having enough tests for everyone, having, a vaccine for this, and we've heard from the top scientists and doctors in the nation on this. It's going to take at least a year to fully get a handle on this. In the meantime, we're going to have to operate on trust, and excuse me, and that trust being that people aren't sick or that they're telling the truth as to whether they were symptomatic or not, because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be anxious to get back to work because they don't have any money left. They don't have any savings, as most people don't in this nation. And if they do have or did have symptoms or were even just flat out diagnosed with this, they're not likely to disclose that to their next employer, especially if they're trying to get a job working with the public. But
yeah.
I want that
I don't know. I think, like anything, in general, we can do as much as we can as a nation to control this, and I feel like we are. You're not going to be able to control all aspects of this. There's going to be bars operating, even not just like what you were saying, Rich, of doing deliveries of alcohol, but I'm sure there's going to be speakeasies out there that are just flat out operating in secret.
Oh, there's been a couple that I've heard that have been busted, and they're trying to keep it as quiet as possible because they don't want anybody to get any ideas.
There's going to be instances where people are gathering and just saying fuck it, and I don't know what to tell you. Like, people are just going to do that. Like, I'm not going to judge everybody. Like, I understand that life to a degree goes on, and sometimes we make what looks like stupid decisions to other people and feel like reasonable ones to ourselves. All you can do is kind of change behavior as much as possible. You're not going to get rid of it. For all the success of the praise that's being heaped on South Korea, or was it South Korea or North Korea? Where was the disease spreading?
South Korea.
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way, South Korea is not North Korea. It's a lot more democratic and they have a lot more freedom, but still, it's not America, right? So when they clamp down on this means nobody's leaving their fucking homes. Mm-hmm. And if you do, we're putting the cuffs on you and throwing you in a cellar back in your home. So, yeah, when you have a situation where it's a lot easier for you to declare martial law and to actually control your public, you're going to have a better time of controlling an outbreak like this. Is that a reasonable trade-off? I don't want to spend my whole life living in a dictatorship just because they're better at fighting pandemics.
Yeah, I don't care that Stalin made the trains run on time. Right. I don't want to live under his rule. Sorry.
Yeah.
I take this is some tinfoil hat shit. I fully admit it. And to be honest with you, I'm seriously, I know, because I know we got a couple listening. Conspiracy theorists, step your game up. Weak titty bullshit conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Surrounding
no imagination with these people, man.
It's not 5G. Okay. It's not Bill Gates stepping down from the head of Microsoft. It's not, and please spare me. It's not our lizard overlords. Come up with something new and exciting. Give me something to work with here. But this isn't conspiracy theory. This is just a fact. Look at the major areas that are on government-mandated quarantine, whether they call it that or not. Those are all pretty much gun-free zones in this country. And you notice that they're not pulling that shit where Bubba and Billy Jeff are loaded for bear. They're just saying, why don't you guys kind of just stay at home?
You could lock down. You could quote unquote shelter in place the Bay Area. Have fun sheltering in place Dallas.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like this shit ain't gonna fly in fucking Chattanooga, Tennessee. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just ain't. You might get away with this shit in a few of these areas that you've basically made it impossible for citizens to own private weapons. But the rest of it, everybody's gonna have to agree to play nice. And I am kind of shocked so far how many people have agreed. What is the most grievous sin we've seen so far? A bunch of idiots who don't, well, if I get it, I get it, but I'm going to spring break. That's probably about like the most, most massive humanity I've seen acting stupid in this situation in our country.
Mm-hmm.
I think
or there's been some ignorant celebrities that have been getting lambasted. Like
I haven't.
What was the
attention?
Vanessa Hudgens was one.
Yeah,
where she does this really stupid video. I mean, I highly recommend watching the video where she says this shit because she is so on point for acting the part of the out of touch liberal elite, like Hollywood. Like she is just nailing it, and I can't even do it justice. I have the quote actually I'm looking at right now. She says, "Yeah, like people are gonna die, which is terrible, but like inevitable."
I do remember hearing it, and I recall thinking that you could hit the service bell every time she used the word "like."
Oh, and just the way like she kind of tussles her hair. I can't even describe it. Like you watch her do this shit, and she's like her body language and everything. The way it just nails it, just perfectly nails the part. The only scary part is she's not acting.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't really know who she is, but I was about to ask, could it be an act?
I think she's Mrs. Nick Lachey.
No, it was for serious. Evangeline Lilly was another one. She said that she had taken her kids to the I don't know what a gymnastics camp is, but I guess that's where she was with them.
Yeah,
they are
cool. A place where everyone's exchanging body fluids. That's great to do right now.
Right. Yeah, she says that they're playing and laughing. # business as usual refers to the virus as a respiratory flu. And says the government's gone too far in its efforts to curb the virus's spread, saying it feels a lot too close to martial law for my comfort.
Just wait, you fucking idiot. Keep acting like that. Just wait.
She also says, let's be vigilant right now, ... keeping a close eye on our leaders, making sure they don't abuse this moment to steal away more freedoms and grab more power.
If I have to be told to stay in my house because of people like you, I'm going to find people like you and fucking kill you.
And it also says there's, quote, something, unquote, every election year.
I live a quarter mile away from a store called Michigan, bitch.
Right, but what is this something that happens every 4 years? Like there's an illness?
I get it.
Or is there some sort of like reason to clamp down on people's freedoms every election year?
I get it. You're young. You have made that abundantly clear by opening your mouth. You are spouting all the same stupid bullshit most young people, myself included, spout when it's of a certain age.
I mean, in general, I agree with some of her sentiments. You should keep a close eye on your leaders at all times to make sure that they don't try and steal any of your freedoms away.
Now
and you should especially be wary to stuff like this around when it comes time to election years. But this ain't it, bitch.
Yeah, right.
That's a message you save for after Rome has just become smoldering embers and it's time to rebuild society. And you go, this is why we didn't give up our guns. Get out of power. We're taking over. You want to share that message? Fine. Right now, no. The last thing we need is people fucking getting angry over political shit because they don't like this politician. This person don't like this politician. And getting to the point where they go out and do something like protest and start fighting and gathering in massive amounts of people. We don't need this bullshit. Everybody just shut the fuck up with your politics. I get it. We will resume the tribalism as soon as possible. Yeah. I swear to God. Oh, you can go back to being Nazis and socialists and communists and authoritarians and totalitarians and Knights of Columbus, whatever the fuck you were. Just shut the fuck up and just worry about helping the people around you that you can and keeping your people, and the people around you that maybe can't do it for themselves as healthy as possible and help them get through this.
Yeah. One common goal, people, suck in oxygen.
Another thing, back to Evangeline Lilly. She lives with her father who has stage 4 leukemia.
I'm about to say something I shouldn't say, so I'm not going to say it.
Sure hope somebody paid up the life insurance note.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you check the will? You make sure you're in it.
You dumb bitch.
That's the other thing.
And also says she says in her post, I am also immune compromised at the moment. I have 2 young kids. I don't think she understands what being immune compromised means.
She thinks because she has to talk to them for 2 minutes each per day when the nannies aren't, that means that, it's such a stress on my immune system.
That's a good point. Her nanny comes in contact with her kids more than she does, I bet. So that's why she's not worrying.
That bitch was on Lost every single fucking season. She's got money. And she was in 3 Marvel movies that I know of. She's got money. See, I mean, look, I'm not saying like boo-hoo, no big deal. But this is another thing that, like, okay, you guys can shut the fuck up too. A bunch of celebrities going to get on fucking YouTube talking about, we understand for the average person, it must be hard to socially isolate. And they're filming this from their fucking mansions they live in. And I'm looking in the background going, that looks to be about worth $250,000. Someone got a map to the stars. You really want to help?
The Imagine video? They're all singing.
Oh, whatever. Whatever videos they feel the need to put out, that they feel the need to be like, oh, I'm here. How are you? Taylor Swift holding up she wrote on marker on a piece of paper, how are you? Well, I'd be a lot better if you donate some of that money, bitch. How about that?
Yeah. Well, have you seen the Imagine video?
I've heard it's
just
awful.
Horrid. It's the worst. It's a bunch of celebrities
seconds of it.
badly
It's probably
singing
trite and
a piece
derivative.
of shit
Awful.
song. And they're all doing it from these beautiful locations where they're like, oh, yes, I feel so bad that you have to be stuck in your palatial estate for the next month.
Yeah. There's a soccer player who bought a private island, and him and his girlfriend are waiting this thing out on their private island.
That's relatable.
Yeah. I know. I mean, none of us will probably ever be in a situation to buy an island, but I agree, Chris. That is very relatable.
Talk about Johnny Sixpack right there. I'm going to go hide out on my private island until this all blows over. You and me both, buddy.
Like, that's what I'm saying. First of all, this is the folly of getting sucked into the politics, partisan, tribalism bullshit at the moment. It drags us away from the shit we really need to be paying attention to, because you get sucked into, well, if he ain't your president, you better not cash that check if he sends it. Well,
right.
If you don't like socialism, you better not cash that check when he sends it.
Both of
my
you
dick's
need to
smaller
get the
than
virus.
yours.
Yeah.
No, my dick's smaller than yours. You both got tiny dicks. Shut the fuck up.
I hope both of those people get the virus and die.
You're both incompetent cocksuckers who couldn't hit the G-spot on a 10-pound pussy. Shut the fuck up. Fucking idiots.
It is very funny how
fucking selves.
right.
Please.
Andrew Yang or Bernie Sanders wants to send money to Americans. They're like, that's socialism on the level of Venezuela that can ruin a country. And then Mitch McConnell wants to do it, and they're like, that's just good business sense.
Well, at this point, it's okay. What are we looking at? Suspend rent and mortgage payments, car payments, insurance payments.
Actually, there was foreclosures and evictions have been Trump. There was something in that bill that says that they're at least through April. Those have been suspended.
Mm-hmm. This is the reason I think that they're saying give people money. One,
they don't want the economy to collapse.
That's one of
the things I'm afraid of.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'm right there. I'm right there with you. Go ahead.
No, that's the one thing I'm afraid. I'm not afraid of getting this virus. I'm afraid, dude, the economy collapses. Dude, we're fucked.
Yeah,
I mean,
everybody.
Like that money is going to go towards 99 times out of 100. That money is going to go towards someone staying alive and keeping a roof over their head at this point. Something. It's going to go back into the economy. My favorite is, what about people that'll spend it on bullshit?
That's what they want.
Okay, but
fine. Yeah, there's some of this money is going to be going to people who are not affected at all. And
no, they weren't talking about those people.
They're going to tuck it away, or they're going to spend it on drugs, or
they're talking about poor people spending it on drugs. And how dare these poor people, as they sip their drinks and take their fucking Valium, how dare these poor people get free money from the government so they can fucking manage to self-medicate through this 2-week quarantine? which, by the way, is going to be a lot longer than that. Y'all might as well accept that shit.
It's going to be 2 months.
At least, yeah. You know, those are the type of people that I'm like, really? Even fucking now, you are worried about someone getting something?
Hey, I'm going to be honest. I'll be honest, Red. I am not going to spend that money. I'm putting that money in the bank because I might need it.
Even if it gets spent on drugs, it still does something for the economy. What does that drug dealer do with it?
I'm not putting it in the economy.
Spends it.
Yeah. Well,
I know, but
to these people, I'm just as bad. I'm not putting it in the economy. I'm putting it in the bank. It's not going to go into the economy, so I'm just as bad as these people who are putting it in the black market.
This is about fairness, right? This is about I've played by the rules and these people aren't, and they're going to get the same thing that I get. Like, I work hard and I don't think these people work hard. They're going to get a $1,200 check and I'm going to get a $1,200 check. That's not fair.
I used to say it when I used to be in charge of people. I give you the money every 2 weeks. What you do after that does not concern me. Dude, I don't give a fuck. Great. Everyone's going to get good. Some people are going to go spend it on stupid shit. That's what we need. I don't give a shit. You know, I look at it as, hey, we pay all these taxes. It's about time we start getting something back.
Yeah.
Well, you have Boeing asking for what? A $60 billion bailout?
Please,
How much have we given the banks already and the airlines?
The airline industry,
Boeing can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, the airline industry can eat a dick. You've been charging for overhead space. You've been charging for bags. You have been nickel and diming us since 9/11 and done it in the name of, oh, you got to help the airlines. Meanwhile, Delta posted record profits last year. Just passed out profit sharing checks to everyone that works for them. Fuck you, airlines. Eat a big bag of dicks.
Well, you know who gets to eat the bigger dick first is the cruise industry. The cruise ships are looking for a bailout from lost business.
You don't need to exist.
There is absolutely zero essential about you are not providing essential travel to any place.
Yes.
You are, as a matter of fact, just a floating petri dish.
Yes. Being able to I had this debate with my coworkers at the radio station a couple weeks ago.
Perfect opportunity to let them die. Not literally the people that go on cruises, but the cruise ship business. Let that die.
What is so desirable about being locked on a boat with a bunch of strangers and being let off once a day to buy shit? I've never understood
and going for a swim on a pool on a boat.
Yeah. Hey, we'll let you off once a day to buy real cheap shit. Cool.
I have no idea, and I don't mind. I've thought, would I be cool on a cruise ship? Probably not for as long as I had to be on there. It might be cool. It might be cool to do something like go on it for a couple hours and then like, okay, can we go back to land now? I'm good on this shit. That's why I didn't want to join the Navy. Sorry.
I would think the circumstances for me would have to be the trip was completely free. Like, I don't know, I owe nobody nothing. Like, I win it in a contest and they sell weed on the boat. Then I can go. Because otherwise, what the fuck am I going to do? Like, even if I manage to have a good time, then I'll just go back to my room and think about how much that good time cost me.
But I am with you,
Irish.
Aaron.
I can't help it.
There's nothing essential about the cruise industry. The airline industry, yeah, we need to travel, but traveling by boat, that shit hasn't been essential since the early 20th century.
Yes. It's also been like the easiest way to get sick when you travel.
I can fly from here to Chicago for $50. What do I need a boat for?
Yeah.
I mean, the estimate that I keep hearing that people keep seeming to agree with this number is 70% of small business owned restaurants, if this goes 2 months or longer, are done.
Yeah.
They're going to have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
If we're willing to let 70% of a business take a dive, then I'm sorry. This isn't 9/11. Okay? 9/11, it was like they were back up in the air within like what, a week?
Yeah.
All right. This is completely different. This is unprecedented in human history.
My prediction.
This is man landing on the fucking moon. Get it through your head. We've never seen this before on this scale. We have no idea what we're doing. We're like the first guy that fucked you if you're a woman. We're just bullshitting, hoping it feels good to you.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
Curated by Kohl's latest collection is now available in select stores and at Kohls.com. For a limited time, shop unexpected new favorites like reusable drinkware from Corksicle and fun arts and crafts from UV. Warmies heatable plush toys are perfect for little ones. Homesick handcrafted candles are a great gift to make anyone feel at home. And who doesn't love sweet treats from Candy Club? Shop Curated by Kohl's for these digital need-to-know brands and more. Tap the banner now or visit Kohls.com.
Imagine the greatest collection of real-life entertainment on the planet, all in one place. Go ahead. Dare to stream with Discovery Plus. Stream now. Stream what you love.
ChristopherMedia.net. Unregimented.
Yeah, shit's going to be way different on the other side. I wasn't joking when I said this on Sporgy. Look at our world leaders. Bunch of old motherfuckers. They might not be here in 6 months. We might have a whole new generation stepping in to fill that vacuum that was left by those people dying off.
Oh, this means Gen X is going to have to care. Shit.
Well, Gen Z's way too young, thank God, after seeing how they're at the fucking beach. And you know what, millennials? Maybe.
Yeah, they're just starting to get into they're about to start crossing 40, and then they're getting into their late 30s. The old ones, anyway.
But I mean, like if you look at the numbers of who this is fatal for, there is a clear line of demarcation.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, boomers and older seem to be like, whew, good luck with that, and I mean that with all my heart, because I mean this is something that even the younger people I know, I don't understand why it's not affecting them more. A lot of these guys that I know that are younger, their parents waited till they were older to have kids. Now their parents are like in their 60s. Some of them are even like coming up on 70, and they think they're just gonna. Oh well, if I run out of food, I'll run over to my parents' house. Stupid. Are you trying to kill your parents? You trying to get them sick? That's not how this works. You know what I'm saying? Like me. My parents, all my grandparents, dead. I got a handful of aunts and uncles that are older than me. Then it's me and my cousins. We're the next up. We're on deck to take our swings with the Grim Reaper. That's it. That's all there is to it. So I don't have to worry about that. These people that are fucking blowing it off, if I was their family, I'd be like, don't come around here. FaceTime me. One of the most heartbreaking pictures I've seen in this whole situation is people in retirement homes. They won't. Yeah. They won't let the family in because of obvious reasons. And so there's one picture that was taken where an older woman and I think her daughter were writing on pads of paper and holding it up through a fucking window to each other while this old lady's in a hospital bed in that retirement home. So it probably means she was not doing so hot. And I'm just like, imagine that. That's the last time you get to talk to your parent because somebody thought they were too fucking cool for school. I don't give a fuck, dog. I'm a party dog. What up, bruh?
Well, honestly, you know, I can't say I'm afraid of getting it, but I am concerned because I have asthma and this shit attacks your respiratory system pretty hard. And even with my long history with asthma, I probably still will be okay and survive it, but I will also probably spend, hopefully, some time in the hospital, and that will probably bankrupt my ass because I don't have health insurance.
Oh, whoa. California just got placed under lockdown.
California,
it just came across my screen.
They are looking at over half of the population being infected with this virus before it runs its course through California. That's what I was just seeing in the news. Estimates 25.5 million residents, or 56% of the state, will get the virus in the next 8 weeks.
Based on what, though? Where's he getting that?
The state reported nearly 699 confirmed cases as of last night, Wednesday night, when we're recording this. Last 24 hours, we had 126 new cases, a 21% increase. I don't know. So, I mean, that's just taking the current rate of infection and extrapolating it. That might be more of a number that's intended to shock people. so that they actually are proactive about it?
Wait,
this might be the number of, if we do nothing, this is what we'll be looking at.
I've seen a story here from the Independent from yesterday. Why is nobody talking about this more? Gavin Newsom, this is a quote from him. We have the ability to do martial law if we feel it's the necessity. Why is no one talking about that?
Because it's a reality. I mean,
he's talking about martial law in California could be a reality?
Yeah.
God damn.
Fuck it, dude. Let's go bowling.
Right.
Well, look, I mean, this might all be an overreaction, but who's going to take that chance? And honestly, this is when you get individual states overreacting like this is largely, again, placed on the head of the Trump administration. If they didn't fumble their initial handling of this, then we'd have a more cohesive response to it. And we wouldn't have Gavin Newsom feeling like he's alone on this and has to take matters into his own hands.
Well, if that's the case, how's the lyrics go? 10 soldiers and Nixon coming. We're finally on our own. Yeah, just change Nixon to the federal government and just realize, hope you got some good leaders at the state level. Because if the federal government is that fucking incompetent, you really think they're going to get competent overnight? I mean,
at this point, all I want of the federal government at this point is to stop our economy from completely collapsing. That is all I expect from the feds.
Yeah. There's a pretty telling interview with a few different people who had some government jobs, one of whom was still employed high up in the CDC and all this shit that's going on with everything. And that they were from all over the political spectrum. Some were there by Trump, some had been fired by Trump, some were there for 2 or 3 administrations, whatever. But they all said the same thing when asked, the one question to me that really mattered: were we ready for this? And the answer is no, never. We've never been ready for this. We've been better prepared at different times, but we've never been ready for this. This was inevitable. And it's like, damn, that's some scary shit. But then again, where would we be as a world, as a society of human beings, as a species, if we all still were like huddled in our houses like they're caves and we don't leave except for like the essentials? And that's it. I mean, basically, we would get nowhere. We can't live like that, So it's like, if this was inevitable, fuck, man. That's even more scary, because that means that the people intelligent enough to know that have known it and just gave up trying to tell us. It's like, fuck it, they're too stupid. Do you see American Idol? Do you see this shit? They're too dumb. They don't care. They don't care. They got Candy Crush. They don't give a fuck. Let them die. Then they'll start giving a fuck. It'll be too late, but they'll
canceled American Idol. They sent everybody home. I saw that story today.
Yeah, I think that was the strangest, there's been a lot of strange things in this last week. But for me, it was watching the post oh shit moment John Oliver. Yeah. He's just in that white studio and
he's like, hi, this is weird.
Like he's like, we're running a skeleton crew here, and it was just like, whoa, okay. Like
Bill Maher's show, honestly, I think worked better without the crowd. Obviously, the monologue's not going to be the same without the big crowd, but who gives a fuck? That's usually the worst part of a show. And whereas John Oliver's show, it's not the same.
Well, it was just the fact that it was the realization.
He actually does need an audience for that show, I think, for it to be effective.
It was just a realization. He's sitting there with probably 2 cameramen, a couple guys running the board.
Yeah, skeleton crew.
Yeah, I mean, literally, like, less than our skeleton crews at Specs, Chris.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then you see something like, and this was really strange, you see the WWE holding wrestling events to an empty auditorium. And I'm like, did they go through all the, you ain't shit, like shit talking? Because at that point, isn't it just literally a soap opera with a little bit of fighting in there?
Right.
I mean, there's no audience to feed off of. It is literally a soap opera with guys rolling around in their underwear.
I don't know how they don't crack up in the middle of it. Like how they don't break constantly.
But I was just like, wow, okay. And like I said, we were on the air the other night when Chris was like, they just shut down all the casinos in Nevada. I was like, oh, fuck. My sister lives out there. I almost want her, like, if you go out, get a picture of the Strip, how it looks now, and just send it to me. Because I can't imagine it's been this empty.
My realization, my oh shit, this is real moment, was getting an email from the landlord company saying that they're not going to be charging late fees on April's rent. And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Property companies are saying they're not going to change. This is definitely real. Like, some shit's going down. That's the last person that you'd expect to like be like, oh no, it's okay. You don't have to pay us right now.
Well, yeah, two things. For me, the NCAA canceling their tournament because that's how they make 75% of their money for the year. Like,
billions.
Oh, we don't care about commerce, huh? Oh shit. And then the same day, like, I got an email from my radio station boss. It's like, hey, this is now all we talk about. Uh-oh. We're not using the mics to give away tickets to caller 10. Shit is serious now.
Well, before we wrap up our coronavirus talk, let's talk about the politics of this real quick, because I'm curious. How do you think this is going to affect Trump's re-election possibilities?
Right now, he's got his highest approval rating he's ever had. I think what you said hits it on the head. Is that stock market is going? That's what's getting him elected or not reelected.
Yeah,
because
he was still riding a high from his his impeachment.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. So like hearing that his poll numbers are back up to a record high is surprising to me. Last I saw, they were down.
Oh no, he's at like 53% or something like that. Yeah, oh yeah. He dare has a majority now. But fuck, I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh well, it's gone. It was there.
Wait, so you think this is actually going to be?
Oh, I said I always deferred to Daddy Bush. Daddy Bush, quote unquote, won a war, but 6 months later was in a recession. See ya. So I think you're right. If the stock market bounces back, he doesn't go anywhere. The economy doesn't collapse. He doesn't go anywhere.
Is that
that's how people vote?
Keeping it from collapsing
at this point, yeah.
Or would he have to?
The bar is now set low. Just keep it from collapsing.
Yeah.
We don't need the stock market to be at 30,000. We just need it to be there. The bar is now it's just been lowered.
So in that respect, this actually could be good for his re-election chances because it lowered the bar.
Yes.
For what people are really concerned about.
Yes. However, if 1 out of every 4 of us dies, don't see him getting reelected.
Yeah. I'd say that's a fair assessment.
Rich went to the bunker.
I'm sorry. I'm just sitting here like, that's pathetic. That is absolutely pathetic.
I agree. Yes.
Like I'm just being dead serious, and I know whatever. People are going to hear this and be like, wow, man, he's really, I don't think it's the end of the world, but I think a lot of people who are older need to make peace with whatever fucking gods they believe in. And I'm not sure that he's going to be here, man. How many world leaders has he stood next to, shaking hands with, had pictures taken, literally standing next to that have tested positive? That man is not in the best of health.
Did you hear that? So, like, he's obviously he's probably been exposed, whether he has it or not. But he did say that he was tested and is negative for the virus, right?
Yeah.
He exhales
which I really don't believe. Right? Who could believe any of that shit? So a reporter asked him, "What was it like taking the test?" His response was like, it's a test. It's like, not really fun. It's not something I'd like to do again."
You open your mouth and they swab it, or the inside of your nose, stupid.
Number 2 pencil scantron, your standard test.
Right. And like, oh my God, he wasn't tested. He definitely wasn't tested. Somebody in a that story was posted in a tweet, and somebody responded with a gif of the 40-year-old virgin when he's describing a breast. He's like, it's like touching a bag of sand.
Bag of sand.
Wait. Answer this question. Are you a virgin?
It's like, oh yeah, I'm nailing you. Isn't this cool?
She's like, yeah, it's dirty and sex and stuff.
Yeah, that's what his response was like.
No, I don't. He's either been tested and he tested positive, or he really is that cavalier about it. It's like, get that motherfucking test away from me. Like, okay, stupid. When you drop dead.
Come on, he is the president of the United States. If he had it, dude, he'd be in a fucking bubble and we'd know about it because other people would step in.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a good chance of any president, if they were actually infected, they would try and keep it from the public. I mean, people are going to panic if they find out that the president's sick, whether they support him or not.
And not only that, but people in power are too Machiavellian for you to forget that one person's tragedy is another person's opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't even give a fuck if both of you say that's the stupidest shit you've ever said. You're functionally retarded, Richard. I'll be like, okay, believe what you want. I don't care. I truly believe that people in power in this country, there's people in power in this country watching him going, go ahead and get sick and die. That way I can make my move. I totally believe that.
Oh, yeah.
100%. I've seen people fuck over their friends for a few dollars an hour more. I've seen 20-year-old friendships come to an end over a promotion that one person swept the legs out from another that was a friend of theirs to get. If they're willing to do that for that, come on. There's people that'll, go ahead.
Oh, I guarantee.
It's okay, Mr. President. Don't take that test. You're fine. Yeah, that cough, that's not even close to dry.
I'm sure there's someone that's saying under their breath, keep shaking hands, asshole. No, I'm with you on that.
The deep state. The deep state's going to infect them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what the deep state does. It's a whole plan to take out the 2% of the world's population. That's what the deep state does. Let's kill everybody. I'm going to kill every motherfucker up in here. That's how the deep state rolls. No!
Yeah, it's just pathetic to think that, one, he could get reelected before this, and to think he could get reelected during this, whether it be the tail end or not. Jesus Christ. Like, maybe this virus does.
I mean, it gave him an excuse. It gave him an excuse to. We'll see if it actually happens, but it sounds like there's going to be a lot of checks written out to people.
Hell yeah!
And a lot of money being thrown at businesses. And
you know what it means? Enjoy your tax refunds this year, folks, because they're not going to be there next year.
Oh, right.
Everyone's going to get $2 back next year.
This is what I'm trying to explain to people. This ain't free money.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing in this life free. Eventually, we will pay for it down the line. Whether it be...
Well, technically, you already did.
Whether it be you don't get taxes back, or cuts in social programs, or... Because you can bet your sweet ass money's going to keep flowing to two things. The military and the people who are employed in that particular field. And between lobbyists and politicians, money's always going to travel in those two directions.
Bill de Blasio begging the president to send the military to New York. So you're damn right. I don't know, are we going to shoot the virus at what is it for military hospitals?
See, this is where I've just read too much like fiction about just this situation, and I try not to get sucked into the paranoia of why did I just watch at a train crossing, a military train in Michigan with 35 tanks and armored personnel carriers heading north. Why? You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes no sense. Like, don't worry about it.
Did you really see that?
Mm-hmm.
Neat. I'll have fun sleeping tonight.
And here's the thing. Here's another thing I always find amazing. And it's one of the things that, I've read, and like I said, a lot of dystopian future novels and shit like that. Masks don't do anything unless you already contagious, right? So why is everybody in the military and the government wearing masks? Are they contagious? Do they have it? Well, if I'm not supposed to wear a mask because it isn't going to do anything, why do you get masks? Well, why? I don't understand. If it doesn't do anything, why are we wasting it on the average guy standing around guarding you while you stand in line to do whatever? I like shit like that. It's like, that makes me think this ain't as under control as everybody wants it to be. There's a whole lot of, oh shit, we hope it goes this way. So that's, like I said, I couldn't think of a better person to be in charge of it than a former reality show, game show host.
Yeah.
I'm so glad. Good times, y'all.
Although, I mean, again, sorry, but God, I hate to sound like I'm defending him, but generally, but it would be someone who was a lawyer. If we're going to get down to what they did before they were the president, you could play that game with anybody. Hey, I'm glad a lawyer from Chicago's in charge. I mean, like, I don't know.
Basically, I think
we're all scared and grasping at straws now.
Basically, it was a choice between blowing someone who's a frat boy and who's going to say something stupid before he ejaculates in your mouth, which is Trump, or blowing somebody who's a smooth talker before he ejaculates in your mouth. Either way, you end up with a mouthful of spunk. So you just want to be told by someone who's going to make you feel a little bit better about it? Or someone's going to be like, gag on it. That's funny. Either way, you still have a mouthful of spunk. I don't want spunk in my mouth.
I'd just like to reasonably believe that our president gives a shit about other people.
His daughter and maybe one of his sons. Yeah. We know he feels wives are disposable.
He can import them. Oh, not with the travel ban. Not where he gets his wives from.
Do you think Melania is like sitting on the side, or whatever the fuck her name is? I can never remember the bitch. Sitting on the side like, okay, now kiss the Prime Minister of France on both cheeks. Yes, that's right. Yeah. Take that chocolate-covered pretzel from him. Eat it. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just like, I found a way out.
One good turn does deserve another.
Oh, Christ.
And I mean, I don't think we've even talked about what is this shit going to do. What happens when this gets to India? Have we thought? It's already there, right?
Well, last time I saw the continent of Africa, this is a day ago, so God knows how much has changed. Saw a day ago, continent of Africa in the middle didn't have any major amount.
But that's about it. At all desert.
It's about it. That's what I'm saying.
Like, no, but India's a country that's like a size of like a third of this country. It's got 1 billion people in it. Like, that's what I worry about.
Well, my point is that I'm pretty sure it's there. Maybe we're not hearing about it because it's that bad. It's like, whoa, tell them about Italy. That's bad enough. Maybe that'll scare them to stay in their house. Tell them about India. Shit. You ever read all the worst parts of the Bible? Basically that. That's what's going to happen. And remember all the times that we'd sit on the podcast and be like, what would bring this world together? We were wrong. Nothing. Look what's going on, and people still find time to block and name call each other on social media and get on television and argue about, which politician is fucking us over and lying to us less. And it's just like, okay, this is just what we are. We're just this. This is us. This is the ABCs to humanity. We're just stupid.
Yeah, let's see. It took China a month to. I'm already tired of this, but we're gonna just keep hearing it. Flatten that curve. It took China a month to flatten the curve. Looking at this chart, so
there is good news.
It's gonna be a fun March, kids.
There is good news coming out of China. According to China, they're over that peak. They're on the other side. Okay, yes, it took 3 months. And yes, it took some measures that we didn't exactly approve of. But I mean, if they can get over it, that hump, that quickly, maybe we can do something a little bit quicker, just a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's when everybody can start to breathe a little bit easier, is when it's like, instead of hearing yesterday there was 100 cases, today there's 200 in our state. When it's yesterday there was 11,000 cases, today there's less than 50 or 10,000. Mm-hmm. Something along those lines. Like, oh, okay, and they're not dying. They're all not deaths. These people recovering. Okay.
If you just look at if we mimic what China did, it's going to be May before we're allowed to do shit. before we're allowed to roam freely again.
But I mean, here's the thing, like even in quarantine, getting prescriptions, getting essentials, that's allowed. It's just, from what I'm gathering, it's curfews. We don't want you out after 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. Mm-hmm. I'm not thrilled with that idea either, by the way, just saying. But it's like a curfew isn't a quarantine. And I really hope the media doesn't try to conflate those two terms and get people riled up for fucking viewership, because a quarantine is you leave the house, you're dead or you're in jail.
Mm-hmm.
And considering that there is massive amounts for the United States of people being released from county, city, and even people that are close to the end of their sentence or up for probation that are nonviolent offenders being released from state prisons, they're not trying to shove people in prison right now. Because as bad as it is out here, imagine being in prison and this shit starts spreading in there. At that point, you know you got it. You just write your final letter and go, can you send this out if I don't make it? I'm trying to find a happy note to go out on, and I thought I had it, and I didn't.
We don't have one. Let's just wrap it up. It's all virus talk.
Hey, I was all behind to call this Tom Hanks disease. That was floating around the internet for like a day. Or Tom Hanks syndrome or whatever.
See, I think if it's going to be something to do with Tom Hanks, he's since, as Drew and Mike pointed out multiple times, he's always pissing in his movies. It's got to be something to do with the urinary tracts.
It's true. Have to be yeah. Yeah, I just got to stop. I keep refreshing my Google News. I'm going to have an ulcer. So, all right. Cool. What a great... It's been a while since we do a show, and then this is what we come back with. Neat. Well, it is what it is, I guess. Yeah. We're on Twitter at UnregimentedPod. You can email us on regimented@christophermedia.net. Yeah, while you're locked inside, we're definitely going to be back to doing shows weekly, and there's talk of other things. We'll let you know as that develops. Listen to us, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, ChristopherMedia.net, Spreaker.com, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you get a podcast. Listen to us. And, yeah, we'll get through this. We will. Stay inside, please, for the love of God, or whatever the hell you believe in. And should we tell people to wash their hands? By the way, do we need the threat of a global virus to remind people we should be washing our hands? I'm on that train. But yeah, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.
Later.
Unregimented. ChristopherMedia.net.
Of all the streaming services out there, only one is different. Discovery Plus. It's the greatest collection of real-life entertainment on the planet. 55,000 episodes of food, love, true crime, home, from networks like TLC, HGTV, and tons more. Yes! With stars like Chip and Jo, an exclusive new series from 90 Day Fiancé, all in one place. Bam! Discovery Plus. Stream now. Stream what you love.
ChristopherMedia.net. If you like this show, please tell a friend. Please make sure to rate and comment on all your favorite Christopher Media shows. Please follow us on Twitter and like and share us on Facebook. You can subscribe to all ChristopherMedia.net shows for free on ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for listening, and thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.